Hello, in this video I'll be talking about Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 16 from chapter 1. Earlier we were saying how Patanjali talked about two different means to control the modifications of the mind, which is what the purpose of yoga is. The first mean is practice or abhyas in Sanskrit, and here practice is the effort to constantly still the mind, and this effort or practice need to be done for a long period of time without stop, and one must have reverence or respect for one's practice. Only then it will be successful. Another mean to control the modification of mind is dissipation or detachment, and Patanjali define it as when one doesn't have any craving for sense objects, and whether those sense objects are actually experienced or perceived with your five senses or your mind, or whether those sense objects are described in scriptures or in a book. If one does not have any craving for those sense objects, that is detachment. And now in this next sutra, Sutra 16, Patanjali described something which is higher than this renunciation. So in my opinion, it is an advanced dissipation or detachment than the one Patanjali described in Sutra 15. So this goes as follows. Tatparam purusa khyater gunavetrasanyam. So tat is like that detachment. Param is something which is higher than that. Purusa, so purusa is soul. Khyate is to know, to perceive. Gune is qualities in nature. And Vetrasanyam is indifference. So Patanjali described this advanced detachment as which is higher than what was described in previous sutra. So this detachment is indifferent to gunas or qualities of nature. And this comes from when one knows oneself, when one knows one's true self. So in Bhagavad Gita also, gunas or qualities of nature are described in terms of three, and those are sattva, rajas and tamas. So sattva quality is mode of goodness, where one experiences peacefulness of the mind, or this peacefulness is different than what one experiences when one knows one's nature. And compassion for people and doing what one should do, doing ethical things. And rajas is where one has friction with oneself and others, one fights, and one is angry. So these are few examples of having rajas quality. And tamas is ignorance, where one is lethargic, sleeps a lot, eats a lot and indulges in many things which are harmful, so basically addictive behaviors. So for more details about these three gunas, you can refer to Bhagavad Gita. And at some point, I will make some videos on these three gunas based on Bhagavad Gita. So basically everything in this world is made up of these three gunas or qualities. So when one is indifferent to these guna, mean one is indifferent to whatever is going on in the world, and one is also indifferent to whatever is going within oneself, which means if you have any thought, feelings, sensations, or whatever is going on in your internal world, you are also indifferent to that. So that is a higher detachment, and that detachment comes when one knows one's true essence. When one knows one's innermost, when one knows oneself as separate from three gunas, and when one actually experiences oneself as something completely different than what we find in nature. And that causes this kind of detachment, which is higher than what is mentioned in previous sutra. So this detachment will come after one restrains or stops the modification of the mind, and when everything is calm and peaceful, in that state one can experience oneself, and then from that you can have this kind of detachment which comes naturally. So this cannot be forced, it can only come after, in normal language, after we get enlightenment or after we know oneself in reality. So that's it for the sutra. I'll be talking in my future videos about upcoming sutras. Thank you for listening.